Hello everybody and welcome to Dubai. It's one of the best known cities in the Middle East and part of the United Arab Emirates. Originally known as a harbour town, trading goods at the various souks, nowadays visitors are more likely to be tourists coming to the bright modern malls as much as the Burj Khalifa and the Burj Al Arabs, or those traditional river rides on the Dow, as well as the museums that honour the history of old. There's been competition here for centuries. Camel racing still takes place, but it's for a different kind of event that we've flown to the Emirates.
We're here at the Dubai Autodrome. It's the first weekend of 2018, and we're here for the first round of the Champion of the Continent season 2018 of the 24-hour Proto Series, the 3x3 hours of Dubai.
The Creventic organised endurance series has history at the Dubai Autodrome going back to 2006. In 2017, a new initiative started as Dubai was the opening round for the 24-hour prototype endurance series powered by Hankook. This FIA-approved series continues in 2018, and it's where P2, P3 and CN cars combine and race at tracks on 3 continents.
The Championship of the Continents was already instated in the 24-hour series last year, only for GT and touring cars. This year new, we also have it for the prototypes available, with a triple header of 3-hour races here in Dubai. Also 3x3-hour races in Portimao in July, and it ends in America on the Circuit of the Americas in November, also with a 3x3 hours race.
This is the 14th year that Creventic have raced here in Dubai, and compared to when the first event was organised, it's clear that the Emirates have changed their attitude towards motorsport.
Up to 2004, we never had a circuit. We had always rallying. Now, before, motorsport was rallying. Now, rallying is part of motorsport.
I think racing will slowly catch on. We used to be the same. We used to like street cars when we were younger, and if you really like cars, these are the ultimate you can get to.
But it's not just the locals who are competing here. This is the ideal place for racing enthusiasts to start the 2018 season.
Because it's a race for the LMP3 that probably is one of the categories that is growing up more fast in the last times.
We love to come here because it's good start at beginning of the year, so we can train, we can enjoy the sun, and we don't have problem with the rain here, and we love the track. It's a very good track.
We believe in prototype racing, and we can be not thankful enough for all the drivers and teams that made it out here for this weekend to join us for this experience, for this endeavor together, as these are the people that make us be proud of our jobs.
Friday is qualifying. 2 cars didn't manage to run in the session. Number 4 ran into trouble during the free practice session earlier in the day.
Underbraking into turn 3, and they had a suspension failed, and they lost the long brake pedal, and basically the suspension removed itself from the car. So therefore it's just not possible to get the car out.
But the team have worked out a solution for some of their drivers.
It's possible that one of the factory drivers may step down from one of the other cars, and one of the other drivers may come back in, and then the other drivers, I think, will go ahead with doing the Silverstone race in March. So this is also endurance.
The other car not running in qualifying, the 177 Radical, their issues not terminal.
We had a leak in the differential. It was a minor leak, so we could have done qualifying and then fixed it, but we decided just to stay safe because already all the cars here are faster than us. We don't have a chance of moving up the grid.
Pole in CN1 class for the 98 Norma, a great start to their weekend.
Yes, it was a good qualification, but we have to wait for the races, because 3 races of 3 hours, it's very long, so it's not so important, the qualifying session.
Paul in P3, the number 22 of Speedworks.
Yeah, it was good. Went out first, then just hooked all my laps up together and managed to get a pretty good time, I think, of 53.4. So yeah, I'm happy with that. First time here as well, so yeah, I can't complain with it.
Qualifying showing it's going to be an exciting race with the top 3 really close to each other in time.
We did 3rd overall and P2 in LMP3. only 38 thousandths of a seconds from the pole position, and we will see. I mean, anything can happen in the race.
Starting from pole, Jordan Sanders. He was supposed to race in the damaged number 4 car, but has been switched to the number 6 Ginetta of Simpson Motorsport.
No, I'm very thankful for Ginetta and Mike for letting me step into this car, and for, of course, Neil Muston and John Corbett for allowing me to step in. It's a good opportunity and great to be back at this circuit for a second year running.
And next week we will have the 24 hours of Dubai, also powered by Hankook. And we are looking forward to a starting grid of about 90 cars, GT and touring cars. But this weekend we already got the prototypes racing. We're right now on the start of the first race of the 3 races, and we're looking very much forward to the competition, and wish the drivers a lot of fun and a safe race.
2 warm-up laps completed, the pace car is off the circuit, and we're about to start the first of 3 3-hour races at the Hankook 3x3 Hours of Dubai. The lights are out and the prototype cars have started their 540 minutes of competition divided over 3 races. No one is waiting for the last minutes to make their move. John Corbett quick to take advantage of his pole. Behind him a battle for second between Jack Patel in the number 22 and Giacomo Piccini in the 44 Ligier, which started from 4th.
Yeah, the start was great. I mean, the car, it's very, very, reactive, and immediately I thought it took longer to warm up the tire because this is the biggest problem with the heaters, but it was immediately very fast, and I understood that I had to pass immediately the P2 in front of me. That is the one the other car did. So I tried my best, and it comes out, and so I could keep my pace and do the first stint in a proper way, let's say. So it was a good start.
Yeah, it was an interesting start. I went to go off, and as I went off, I hit the limiter in second. So yeah, I backed off a bit, yeah, just carried on going. Had the 2 cars behind, and just tried to do the best I could to make sure they didn't get past. So one of them got alongside me going into turn 1. I managed to just get down the inside and keep him behind. And then a couple of laps later, I managed to get down the inside of the P2 car and just pulled away from there.
The Simpson Motorsport Ginetta G57 number 6 put a few car lengths between themselves and the rest of the field, but that was not going to last long.
Green light, got a great start, kind of, got some nice acceleration off the start. The guy next to me kind of was too busy looking at me and messed something up, so I got a bit of jump on the lad. Didn't last for long though. It was a great first lap. I'll be showing everybody at home my first 1.5 laps, and at that point in time the young lad went past me, and I kind of tried to hang off the back of him for a while.
When I got past him, I was a bit like, okay, he's gonna come up sooner or later, and then I just started pulling away. The team told me, yeah, you're doing a second a lap quicker, and I was just keep pushing, and yeah, ended up getting a really good lead.
Let's have another look at the start of the race. Crichton Lendubis on the left side of the picture has to brake hard in the first metres of the race and locks up his tyres. That hard stop now brings the car back to the pit lane.
I locked the wheels and had a flat spot on one of the front tires, and I drove like 15 minutes like that, but the car had terrible vibration. I couldn't drive anymore, so I had to come back to change the front tires.
The 48 Ligier was fitted with new tyres, but the car couldn't leave the pit box as quickly as they might have wanted, and that lost them even more time. No tyre warmers in the Hankook Endurance Series, so the Spirit of Race car now had cold fronts and warm rears, and that gave more issues for the driver.
I went on the dirt, and I tried to go quickly too fast, and I had still dirt, so I spun again, and then we had a problem with the starter. I couldn't start the car. It was not my fault because there was a problem with the starter, and we lost a lot of time. Then there was code 60 because I couldn't start the car again.
The resulting code 60 used by the overall leader to come to the pits.
We came in and pitted for fuel under the code 60. I think it was the best thing to do in that situation.
So Giacomo Piccini takes over the lead.
After the Focus yellow, he went to the pit and then remained out, so that's why I was in first position. But I mean, the stint was good, the car was reacting very well, the team did a very good job. It's my first stint with LMP3, as you say, I'm trying to recover from it, but the car, it's very nice to drive and the team prepared it properly.
Back to green flag racing, and the top of the field are out of sync on their pit stops. which just makes it all more exciting. The 48 Ligier was recovered to their pits and quickly restarted. In this race there's a variety of prototypes, which gives a constant battle. The first regular pit stop after nearly an hour of racing is for the number 6 Simpson Ginetta. John didn't have a flawless end to his stint.
I had a bit of a misfortune. I had a bit of a spin there at whatever turn it is, and lost about 7 seconds, so it's not the end of the world. Make sure it does a 360 and keeps going in the direction it should be. But yeah, it's a tricky track, this one, that's for sure.
With the 6 in for service, let's take a look at the standings. 60 minutes of racing completed. The 44 P3 Ligier, Graf Motorsports, leading by a full lap. But they've yet to make their pit stop. The 22 Ligier of Speedworks Motorsport is second. The 98 Craft Racing Norma is on the same lap and holds third. Fourth overall, the number 6 Ginetta G57 of Simpson Motorsport, the only entry in the P2 class. As soon as they finish their pit stop, they'll be out battling the P3 and CN1 cars again. In P3, the number 44 of Graf is leading at the moment. Second is the number 22 from Speedworks, and 7 laps down, the 48 Spirit of Race Ligier. This is endurance.
Achievement comes in the members of the drivers, competitors, and also the staff and the volunteers with us.
I'm a motorsports enthusiast, and this is something special for us to have this 24-hour series. This is the second time we're having this 3 hours into 3 hours. Yeah, it's endurance. We enjoy it.
This is the Dubai Autodrome, a track that is indelibly linked to the history of Creventic, and it's loved by everyone that's ever been here.
Dubai Autodrome is a very modern facility, instated in 2006. We have been here for 13 years now, and we always love to come back here. The cooperation with the Dubai Autodrome staff is fantastic, and together with our partner, the Dutch National Racing Team, and the staff of Dubai Autodrome, we always manage to make our events successful.
I think it's just because it's Dubai and how it's been set up and the history behind it. I think everything just makes it. So yeah, it is good. And to get the pole, I meant, what else could you want on a first time out? So yeah.
I mean, the first part, it's amazing because it's really fast, it's technical. So the first corner, it's really nice, and then you have this section which on new tires it's quite easy flat, I would say, but then during the race with the full tank start to be really challenging, and then there is the braking for turn 5, turn 6, which is really difficult. All the track is very technical, but for sure the part that I prefer is the first one.
In the trajectory, the track is clean. When you exit from the track, from the trajectory, the correct trajectory, there is sand and the car is slippery.
And not just the drivers have taken a liking to this track, also the mechanics.
It's a lot of high-speed stuff, under a lot of stress. Quite a lot of high-speed corners, so it's all puts a lot of stress on the cars, and especially it's dry conditions as well. So it's not like you're in the wet where it's slower. You've got a lot more chance of reliability in the rain because you've got less stress. But as a mechanic, it's nicer to be dry and in the warm. So yeah, it's better.
Back in the race, no one is writing the headlines right now. All the cars still in the running. 2 hours to go in this first of 3 races this weekend. Time for more stops. But the 44 has problems leaving the Graf pit after its service.
We eat on the starter because it has a little bit overheating and it wouldn't start anymore, so it happens sometimes.
After an hour and a half, the early race leader comes back to the pit lane for a driver change and a top-up of fuel. The 22 Ligier made its first pit stop during the Code 60, remember. That meant they extended the stint for Jack Patel.
Never driven it for an hour and a half before, so just knowing how and what the car's going to do after an hour and a half was a new territory for me. But yeah, we did well. The team did phenomenal with the car.
Kai van Berlo has taken over the wheel of the black and red Ligier number 22, but he wasn't able to join the race properly.
We ended up going for fuel and then found out we lost drive, we lost throttle, and found out now we broke a drive shaft.
Speedworks Motorsport took quite a bit of time with repairs on the number 22 before Kai van Berlo rejoined the track. Daniel Kerman into the pits for a driver change. He's handing his car over to his son. The car felt a little different than he expected.
Condition from the car were not good, were not the same car as in the morning. I think a very de la gomme, warm the tire was and a lot of vibration. But I think tomorrow it will be better.
The AUH Radical also in for a driver change.
We're doing really well. We started from the back of the grid. We're in 4th place overall right now and 2nd in class. We're just trying to put in consistent laps, no mistakes, no problems in the pit stops, and it's looking like it's paying off.
After some frantic work from the team, the Speedworks Motorsport Ligier is back on the track.
Yeah, I was out for 30 minutes. The team did a great job to bring it out again. They fixed the car. I went out and there was a lot of pickup on the tires, but after the pickup was gone, everything felt really good. I felt confident in the car, and yeah, we did a great stint, I think.
But Kai couldn't enjoy full-speed racing from the word go, as code 60 was called again.
Avant la ligne droite, en fait, dans la descente, quand j'ai passé le 4e rapport.
Yeah, it was on before the paddock line, the straight line, when he put the 4 gear, the motor cut and the alarm was lightning, and then he has no power and the engine cut, and the problem is that we have the oil pump, the plastic wheel broke, and then the engine broke.
This was the end of the race for the number 97 Norma. The race is drawing to a close, and after nearly 3 hours of competition, the Graf number 44 P3 is leading, with the Simpson number 6 from the P2 class closing in.
It is, yeah, like 3 hours of racing and it comes down to this, so this is quality. This is for a grid of small number of cars. It's fantastic that it's come down. It's a bit of fun.
Less than 5 minutes before the checkered flag, Jordan Sanders in the number 6 Ginetta takes the lead. 3 hours of endurance racing is completed, and the overall win goes to Simpson Motorsport and their number 6 Ginetta.
It was marginal. Under the code 60, about 30 minutes to go, I had my engineer just constantly reading off the gap from there until the end. It's like 26 seconds, 23 seconds, 20 seconds. So I was pushing as hard as I could, and we managed to get it 2 or 3 laps from the end. So.
Michael Broniszewski tried hard to keep the lead, but in the end was just pipped.
Yeah, very close, but we double stint with these tires. We lost a little bit. I cannot push on the end. I don't have the tires. That was our problem. We didn't try double stint with these tires. We make some modification, but before the race, maybe too much.
And un peu de français from a very pleased Marc Vive.
Très content parce qu'on a quand même la plus petite voiture du plateau, on s'en est bien sorti par la régularité, vraiment on s'est fait plaisir, un circuit magnifique, une organisation au top, donc vivement que ça recommence quoi, vraiment top. Ouais, good race, yeah. It's a very good race.
We're very happy to see 3 different classes on the overall podium, especially for the CN car. It's a really big achievement to compete against cars that have much more power, to be on the overall podium after all.
Heading to the top step of the podium, Jordan Sanders, only able to race this car because Mike Simpson was willing to relinquish his seat.
Thank you very much, Mike, for giving up your seat. Yeah, I can't say thank you enough. Yeah, thanks to all the guys at Ginetta and all the ones at Simpson as well.
We had 4 brands of cars in the field. 3 of them are represented in the overall top 3. The Ginetta of Simpson Motorsport had a 100-second lead over the Ligier number 44 of Graf, and 1 lap further back, the Craft Racing number 98. 3 different brands on the podium, and all the 3 classes too. In the class battles, the overall winner, a sole entrant in P2, takes the win there. In P3, the class honours go to the 44 from Graf. Second, the 48 Spirit of Race. Third, the number 22 of Speedworks Motorsport. All 3 of those cars, Ligier JSP3s. And in the CN1 class, top step reserved for Craft Racing. They take the trophy back to France thanks to their number 98 Norma M20. Second in class locals AUH Motorsport with their Radical SR3 number 177. And the Craft Racing number 97 finishes this first race third in class. Drivers and teams have come from all over the world to gather here in Dubai for endurance racing at the start of the year. Sprint races get a lot of media attention, but everyone here knows the appeal of the Creventic organised endurance series.
Look, I guess if you're 21, you can be doing sprint races, but coming in and doing an hour stint, hour and a half stint, that's what it's all about. And I think if you've been driving a few years, you want to be doing this sort of thing where you can just get into a groove. And I love doing these things. Like, you're going around and you're doing within a 0.1, 0.2 every lap, and you're just doing your best, and you're just trying to improve every lap, trying not to make mistakes. And there's little bits of the circuit where you're just thinking to yourself every lap, I'm just going to go a little deeper or brake a little harder or turn a little tighter, and you just do that and you pick up a tenth or two. So that's really what endurance racing's about.
You have to work with other drivers, and it's a very interesting opportunity to meet some other drivers and to have very good races and to test endurance too. So it's an adventure with all the craft racing, and it's a very good team.
Just doing motorsports because I enjoy it. It's always a fun time at the circuit on the weekends, and fun being with the drivers and being with the mechanics. It's just like a little family, and yeah, it's just fun to be out here and go racing.
You could be sitting at work doing mundane stuff, or you could be here racing on a racetrack. I know what I'd rather do.
Well, no office work is here on Saturday morning. We're getting ready for the first of the 2 races today.
This race will start at 9 in the morning and go on until 12. We've got half an hour park fermé then. And at 2 o'clock, it's again start grid for the last race of this event, starting at 3 o'clock, lasting until 6 p.m. And well, it is a tight schedule for the teams in between, but we're confident we gave them enough space to fix possible issues between the 2 races.
Deemed not able to compete this weekend is back, thanks to Janetta, who provided remote assistance from Yorkshire in the UK.
I did a composite repair on the front right-hand corner to the tub. Which means that now we can officially go back out, depending on what the scrutineers say. But you know, it's a big job. They worked hard, sort of from late afternoon all the way through into the evening. So hopefully it holds up, and we can get back to sort of on the pace, and hopefully get some good podium results.
Whether the car can race or not will be decided by the scrutineering team.
Yeah, the car had yesterday accident, and we checked the car. That it's all okay. What they changed on parts. It's the safety first. Yes, we must look up they do the work ready.
The scrutineers satisfied the repairs have been done safely and will allow the car to start the second race of the weekend from the pit lane. Their sister car is on pole.
Well, obviously we're leading from the front, so we need to keep an eye on what everyone else is doing. So we'll probably base our strategy loosely based on what everyone else is doing. So when, you know, we'll always obviously try and gain an advantage if there's code 60s. But at the end of the day, we run our own strategy. You know, we use so much fuel, so we're limited as to when we can stop. So we don't worry too much about it.
The warm-up lap's underway. The marshals have spotted one of the teams have left their laptop on the track. Marshal Jerome Joseph runs to the laptop and takes it from the track before it gets destroyed or can do harm to cars or drivers. Gives it to the race director Martin van Pevet, who's now convinced this race can start safely. The pace car is off the track and the P2s, P3s and CN cars are ready to start the second race in this FIA-approved Hankook 3x3 hours of Dubai. It was quite windy overnight, and these are the first cars to race today. Think back to last October in the Hankook 2x5 hours of Spa-Francorchamps. These cars were trailing a cloud of rainwater behind them. Now they're trailing a cloud of sand. The early meters of the race full of battles. That means not everyone have got their best start.
I have some problem at the start because some cars was behind me and they was fighting and I cannot pass because it was too dangerous. Don't want to have some problem with the car at the beginning because endurance is long. So we have to think about it, but it was good, yeah.
Yeah, the lights go off. I was a bit too fast away. Got a 10-second penalty for it, but anyway, the first lap was really exciting. I was pushing to the limits and overtaking as much as possible.
All action at the front of the field as Charlie Robertson joining the race from pit lane.
We went to fuel before the race and we started from the fuel station effectively, waiting on the light to go green after everyone had passed. The way I kind of approached it, I thought Do you know what? Everyone will be fighting on the first 2 laps. Everyone will be very close. So this is my opportunity to push and catch them. So I pushed quite hard straight away. Managed to catch the back of the train. And then really just like pick them off one by one.
Neil Muston not able to defend the lead.
Yeah, it feels good. The team was saying over the radio, everybody was crazy in the pit box, so really good.
It's good to see a lot of new drivers coming to this championship. That's what we want to see. So, you know, we as Ginetta want good competitive racing, and to have some quick drivers, especially if it's their first time, it's fantastic. So
now the battle for second.
Being so long behind P2, which was much faster on the straight, we lost a lot of time because in the corners I was faster, but every time there was no chance on the braking. Too risky to overtake him, and we lost too much.
Charlie Robertson is working his way forward.
A lot of the cars are quite a lot slower than what I was lapping, so it wasn't too difficult. I just had to be sensible and not take any unnecessary risks. It's a 3-hour race. We knew we have time on our side, so I didn't do anything silly. I just kept my head, made one overtake at a time.
The comeback almost complete as the number 4 Simpson Ginetta overtakes the number 6, his teammate. That's second position overall.
Well, I knew that was going to happen. Like Charlie's, you know, top-notch pro, so he was always going to go past.
And sure enough, Kai van Berlo has to give up the lead to Mike Simpson, and immediately Mike extends his advantage. Away from the scrap at the front of the field, remember there are 3 classes, the P2, the P3 and the CN1 categories, and those finish positions in class are important for the championship, races to come in Portugal and the USA. After about an hour of racing, we start to see the pit stops for most of the cars, not all.
We do only 2 refueling, not 3. So that means we earn time for the refueling. And I think if we don't have mechanical problems, we can expect to finish 3 or 4 in the general race.
1/3 of the race completed. Let's take a look at the standings. Kai van Berlo is back in the lead, but hasn't taken his first pit stop yet. The competition are already fueled up and have changed their drivers, but for now, the 22 Speedworks Ligier can brag about a full lap lead over the field. Second and third, the 2 Simpson Ginettas, 4 and 6, just like the rest of the top 6, all on the same lap. In P3, it's the 22 of Speedworks also leading there, of course. 1 lap down is the Graf number 44. Third, the 48 Spirit of Race, but they are the only P3 car that have already taken their pit stop. In the CN1 class, Craft Racing's 98 and 97 Normas, 20 seconds apart in first and second, and 2 laps back in third is the AUH Radical number 177.
This is endurance.
I like a lot this race. It's my second time when I'm doing this. I did it just last year here in Dubai as well. Creventic 3 hours 3 times. I like a lot the format of this race because it's kind of endurance, but at the same time have 3 starts, you know, 3 just different lives, you know, during one just racing weekend. I like a lot this race, so that's my feeling.
For 2018, a new pit safety measure has been introduced by Creventic.
We added an extra team member that is possible to be around the car who is wearing the green tabard, who is assisting the driver to get out of the car and helping the new driver to get into the car. We did this because in the previous times we allowed the driver to perform this change, so the new driver helping the previous one having the new driver. But of course, after a 2-hour stint, this can lead to tiredness of the previous driver sitting into a car. And as it is a safety issue, we believe it's safer if someone who has not just had a 2-hour stint is helping the new driver to fasten the seatbelt. After all, it's about safety, and it's still possible for the drivers to do this, but we want to give teams the opportunity to choose for this newer and, in our opinion, safer solution.
So if the team opts to have a driver assistant, the only thing to decide is who is going to wear that green tabard.
For me this weekend, I'm leaving my engineers to engineer, and if they're working on fuel calculations, it's easier if I can just relieve them of doing driver change duties, because Creventic have brought in a new rule now where drivers can do this. We can now have an assistant, and we hadn't really scheduled for a driver assistant because we normally let them do it themselves. And so, as I was kind of a free body, that was my job.
It's new to the teams, but they do appreciate it.
I think it's a good system because the driver gets out of the car after a 2-hour stint. He's very tired and working in the cockpit to do the belts up. You know, he's quite tired. He's out of the car. He wants to go and get some water and sit down for 5 minutes. So having another person to do it is a good idea.
The Speedworks Motorsport 22 has taken its first pit stop now. A CN car now leads the pack.
Yes, because we can race a little bit with our fuel, so we can make like 10 minutes more or something like that in our stint, and that's why we can be first at the end of the stint.
The last car to take its stop, the 97 Craft Norma, due to come in. David Cristini has had the longest stint of the race till now, but as he comes in, there's slight damage on the car.
The SR3 car didn't see me, so he pushed me. I was outside the track, and I see the panel 100, and I have to be between the car and between the panel, and I fight a little. I cut a little bit of the panel 100, but it's polystyrene. No damage. It's okay.
The CN cars have just taken their first pit stop, as the P2s and P3s are already due for their second.
Yeah, my stint was better than yesterday because yesterday was a disaster for me. I spun 2 times, so I was a bit cautious, but it was better. I can still do much better. I hope by the afternoon I will be much faster.
Mohamed Al Hassawi did get reacquainted with racing radicals.
It's been a long time since the last race I raced in the radicals. And yeah, it's nice. It's coming back slowly.
Going well in the second leg of the race, Rui Aguash in the number 48 Ligier. Then trouble strikes.
With Rui, we were rising up the classification. He told there was a small problem in the car. Got fixed during his stint, but according to what the driver said, we prepared different things to be changed in case. And now it seems they are fixing. It was one of the things we prepared, and probably in a short time the car will start again.
Jack Patel in the Speedworks 22, trying to take the position from the Graf 44.
He is doing very well, considering he wasn't very well before Christmas. He had a 13-week sick period where he was in hospital for a while. But he's got full clearance by the doctors, and he's doing better than I thought he would.
Still leading, the Simpson number 4 Ginetta. Remember, this car didn't even start yesterday. Their sister car, the number 6, is second overall. This makes a team manager very happy.
Today, the 2 cars running is a lot better than having 1 car not run yesterday after the substantial damage we repaired yesterday morning. So it's good to be now running 1 and 2, and hopefully we can hold it together for the last 15 minutes of the race.
In the CN class, the battle between the 97 and 98 Craft Normas is getting tighter and tighter.
The feeling of the 2 races is quite good. On the 98, we make 2 fantastic races. First one, we finished P3 overall. Now we are fighting for the lead in CN, so that's nice, quite nice.
But the 98 has collected a penalty, and that will affect its finishing results.
There will be 10-second penalty on the 98, so at final we cannot do anything. So that will be a nice race at the end, but nothing interesting.
After 3 hours of racing, it's the number 4 of Simpson Motorsport who is first to take the checkered flag. Great photo opportunity crossing the line with the sister car, and the Craft teammates also side by sides towards that checkered flag.
Yes, if he finished just 13 TCM before the other car, before the 98. So it was very short. They passed the line quietly about, I think, 50 centimeter difference. Team manager said, be together, but don't make mistake.
It's not only drivers that make mistakes, and when a team makes an error, that can cost positions.
We made a mistake. Actually, we didn't know that my driving time limit was 1.5 hours, so I spent 2 hours in the car, and yeah, we got a penalty. Anyway, the strategy was not the best today because with the temperature that we had, we tried to do a double stint on the tires, but after 1 hour and 15, 1 hour and 20 minutes, it was completely gone. So it was really tough to get to the end, and also no sense for that.
The top 3 are at the podium for the awards ceremony. Jack Patel not able to hold on to second, but still happy.
Yeah, no, it was good. The trying to hold it off was a bit of a battle, but I mean that's what we're here to do: try to get as high as we can and try to defend off these P2s. But they've just got so much pace; it's just unreal.
Took a bit of time to get past the P3 car. It's a bit quicker down the straights today, but Yeah, did it in the end and then managed to pull away and then wanted a photo finish, so Mike caught up with us. That was good.
What a wonderful sight, and to go across the line side by side, it's well worth the effort. You know, yesterday was difficult for Ginetta. We thought the car we should retire it, but the Ginetta spirit we tried to fix it with Simpson, and you know, the Ginetta guys back at base here and Simpson did a great job, and Simon, I mean, what a superstar! Never been here before, come to Dubai, and proper times.
One more race to go, but here's the results of race 2. Simpson Motorsport Ginetta's exactly a lap apart. 90 laps for the number 4, 89 for the number 6 sister car. The number 22 Speedworks Motorsport Ligier in third after 3 hours, just 16 seconds between the P3 and the P2 cars ahead. In the class standings, the same result in P2 as the overall, with Simpson Motorsport's number 4 and 6 showing great pace and reliability. In P3, it's the Ligier JS cars. Speedworks Motorsport number 22, dominant in class all race long, takes the top step. Graph 44, very proud to be second, with the 48 Spirit of Race in third. The CN1 class was dominated once again by the Norma M20 FCs. The Graph 97 wins it, with their teammates the 98 by their side on the podium. Third in class, the Radical SR3 RSX of AUH Motorsport. There's variety in the Hankook 3x3H of Dubai, with Norma, Radical, Ligier and Ginetta all represented. Some drivers with experience of their cars, others are fresh to motor racing.
It's the LMP3 car. It's the Le Mans prototype car. I've never driven it before. I'm straight out from karting, so this is my first race in a prototype car.
You really don't need to have the fastest car on the track to enjoy the racing.
It's fun to drive. Like I didn't drive the other cars, but it's very nice to drive, and it's fast for a small car like it.
You don't even have to be the driver to love being here.
It's very fun. It's very fun, especially on that kind of event. There is a lot of driving time. The drivers are great to work with. Work on that kind of car, technically, it's great. It's very fun. Yeah, this is endurance.
The P2 and P3 classes have been particularly close. At the end of the last race, just 16 seconds between them. Last year, different pit stop times for the different classes were used to balance the performance of the cars. That's changed for 2018.
This year we decided to let the teams fight out the battle on track. There are very little BOP limitations for all the teams. Most of the weights are according to their homologation weight. The refueling amount is set to their fuel capacity. So actually this is racing at its purest, you could say. The first race we saw 3 different classes on the podium. And now let's see what's up ahead for the third race of this weekend.
And another change in the driver lineup at Simpson. Jordan Sanders and Mike Simpson were sharing the car last race, but now they're competitors.
Obviously things have changed from last race again, so we've mixed the drivers around again. So it's myself, Charlie Robertson and Simon Murray. So we've got a strong lineup. We'll see what we can do in the race.
Yeah, and I qualified with Neil and John, and you know, it wasn't really fair to have 2 Ginetta factory drivers in the same car, so you know, we agreed to move cars again. A bit more of a challenge for Jordan and I, because we're swapping around, but then, you know, that's what we're here to do, isn't it? So we'll have a good race and hopefully put on a show.
I hope to do better than this morning. Morning we had a problem with the tires, with the wheel, and we lost 5-6 laps.
The moment Michael will take the start, and then we see during the race how does it feel physically with the tires and everything, and then concerning to this, then we will decide the strategy.
I will try to do the same as second race, and we will see how we end up.
5 red lights above the track. When they go out, the racing starts. The number 4 car as winner of this morning's race starts from pole position, but it's the number 6, their sister car, that takes the lead before we even get to the first corner.
Good start, now we got the lead, and steadily pulled away from Jordan, which was great. Very different circuit to this morning. Track's got much hotter and the wind has picked up and it's become very dusty, so I was probably 3 seconds, well, 2.5, 3 seconds a lap slower than I was this morning. I just had a lack of grip.
So Mike pulled away 6 or 7 seconds in the first couple of laps, which, yeah, he's better at warming the tyres up. My tyres weren't quite warm. And then I managed to sort of maintain the gap. So he was pulling away only a little bit, which I did better than I expected, basically. I thought he was going to pull away probably like half a second a lap or something. But no, it was literally just a couple of tenths, you know, a tenth or something a lap, and then I'd get a tenth back the next lap. So it was positive.
In the first 2 races, Jordan was racing in the number 6 car, but now he's back in the car he was meant to race.
4 feels nicer in my opinion, but mainly I think the seat, because I have my own seat made for the 4 before we came here, and then I was using a seat, just any seat that kind of fit me, that could fit in the other gents' seats in the 6. So yeah, being back in the 4, being in my own seat made, you know, the stint a lot easier than the other 2 races.
To perform at your best, you need confidence in your car. Last year, Max Bortolami had a broken engine. He had the same problem at the first race this weekend. He's keen not to make it 3 in a row and brings the car in as soon as he feels something is off.
Max had a special feeling in the car and thinks that something was broken, so we opened the car and we checked it, but everything was okay. I think he was a little bit crazy about risk of broken the engine, because 2 times, so I think he was scared about this.
6 minutes lost in the pits, but Max can confidently rejoin the race. The 3 races in the Hankook 3x3H of Dubai are not exactly the same. Track and weather conditions can be different, so you can't attack the track in the same way as you did before.
It was different in the back straight, actually, also on the main straight. You can brake a little bit later than when the wind is, because it was on the opposite side. And in the back straight you have to brake a little bit earlier, so you don't lock or anything.
And also the temperature. In Dubai, the circuit gets hotter and hotter as the day goes on. And we saw it yesterday. The lap times dropped 2 or 3 seconds around mid to late afternoon. So it's the nature of this circuit, this asphalt, the tyre. You know, it likes to be cold, the tyre and the circuits.
The fine desert sand could damage the engines, but teams know this and have taken measures to prevent it.
Well, we have the filters and everything, but no, it's not that bad. Once the cars have done some laps, you can clear it, but if you go offline to overtake, there is a lot of sand. For the 24-hour next week, if the wind picks up, there could be you know, a lot of sand getting blown around. So.
The drivers still finding their feet in this first hour of the race, so let's take a look at the standings before the race heats up towards the finish. 60 minutes in, and the P2 entries of Simpson Motorsport have held on to the lead that they took at the start. The number 4 entry has a lap on the number 6 car, second overall. The P2 class Speedworks Motorsport number 22 is 57 seconds behind in third. In the CN1 class, it's the Craft Racing number 98 that holds a comfortable 3-lap lead. Both the 177 AUH Radical and the Craft number 97 Norma have already had their pit stop and are just 1/6 of a second apart. And in the intermediate standings, the 2 race leaders, both in the P2 class of course. Number 6 Simpson Motorsport has done 30 laps, 1 lap more set by the number 4 Ginetta. This is endurance.
Oh my word, that was nerve-wracking. Watching on the TV, hoping he didn't get tangled. No, he did a fantastic job. Very nervous, very, very nervous. You know, it's probably harder in here, standing and waiting what's going on. But no, he's better off in the car than I am.
Fabulous weather for racing in Dubai in January, but that's not the only reason teams and drivers are here. They love the organisers as well.
I love the Creventic races. They're so thoughtful. You know, like 3-3-hour races. How much track time? 5 hours of practice. You know, like there's no other event where you can do that. So we just need to get a few more people on the grids, and I'd be happy as Larry to come here for basically sign up for the season.
Yes, I really enjoy now the prototype event, and then next week the 24-hour event. We are going to also do bits and pieces there, and the Creventic events are always a very great organized event, and it's good fun to be here.
Yeah, they organize. They do a nice series, nice events. You get to drive a lot, which is nice. It's a pity that we didn't have so many competitors. I think last year there were around 20 cars. Still good fun.
It's the first time I try it. I really like it. It's really organized. The Proto series is new, and people need time to start getting into it. So I hope it grows, and I hope we can make more races with Creventic.
Into the second hour of the final race of the weekend, and the Radical 177 ahead of the number 22 Norma. And that's made this AUH driver very happy.
It was a really good stint. We were actually catching one of the Normas on track, and that's quite a surprise because these cars are much faster than us. Maybe the guy had a problem with the car, or maybe he was just new to it. I was behind him for maybe 10 laps, but catching up, and usually they would just disappear in 2 corners after passing us. So it felt good.
It's not 24 hours, but these 3x3 hour races are still taxing.
Oof, yeah, a little bit tired. It's long, but we have lots of problem today. Problem of strategy, problem of engine, but then it's okay. And problem of the fuel refueling, we wait 10 or 20 seconds, so it was a bad day. I think I will drive in about 20 minutes. And I will just drive 40 minutes today. Yesterday and this morning I drive 1 hour 20. It was long, I'm a little bit tired, and I want that my colleague drive more than me today, because we have to drive for pleasure too.
But it's bad news for the 98 sister car. After the final driver change, the team couldn't start the car again. Mark Vive was pushed back into the garage. It's tight between the two P2 Ginettas. The battle interrupted in turn 7 when Konstantin Gugayev has a spin on just the second lap of his stint. The 4 and 6 Ginettas both managed to avoid the stalled lead here. In the first race, it was on this part of the track that the Speedworks number 22 broke a drive shaft. This time, it's just a driver error. Konstantin manages to restart the car and rejoin. Simon Murray is out of the car.
It was hot, and I was struggling with the brakes a little bit, having some pad knockoff and trying to deal with that. So it just added to the workload. Yeah, let's see how we go in the last stint when Charlie gets around in the car.
Neil Muston has taken over the lead. Charlie Robinson hot on his tail. The third and final checkered flag of the 3x3 event is getting close. Teams are watching the screens. They don't want to miss a single moment of action.
We hope to finish, first of all, because we had a few problems this morning. But now Marco is running strong. Also, the other two did a good job, no mistakes. So we hope, well, for sure we'll be on the podium.
The number 4 is leading, but they have a 14-second penalty which will be added onto their time after the finish. They did have a comfortable lead to the number 6 running second. For the last couple of laps, they're losing grip and the car is harder to drive. Brakes are locking up. The back end wants to steer, and this is putting their hopes for overall win in jeopardy. Of course, if the car doesn't get to the finish flag, they'll lose the victory. But if they can't hold a 14-second lead ahead of second place, they'll still lose that victory. Out of the last corner, the problems are worse. There's no more drive on the Ginetta, and it slowly creeps across the finish line for the last race in the Hankook 3x3 hours of Dubai. Simpson number 4 is first to cross the line, but with no drive, Charlie needs to park his car at the pit wall. 14 seconds penalty will be added to the finish time of the number 4. Coming through in second place on the road, the number 6 Simpson Ginetta. Have they closed to within 14 seconds of their teammate and taken the race? Yes, they have, and they were battling issues of their own.
We developed a terrible fuel surge. It was either a fuel surge or a misfire in one of the cylinders after about the 4th or 5th lap, and I couldn't defend, and I had no pace in the higher gears. So I was basically just revving the crap out of it in second gear to try and get some fuel in the cylinders and then take it from there. But I really had no top end speed, so very, very fortunate to finish this way.
So problems for most of the stint. How did he get so close to the race leader?
I was still the same through the corners. The car was lovely, well set up, nice and grippy. I was able to sort of keep it in the 58s, occasional 57, and it really should have been 55 pace. So I'm glad the car made it, and I was getting pretty frustrated there too. So I'm glad I didn't lose my head and do something stupid.
Third overall, and the best of the P3 cars, number 22 Speedworks Ligier.
Actually, I expected I was at least 1 second faster, but didn't manage to go
in the pace I expected. I tried not to just spoil the balance which I had from my just fast teammates. So that when they told me that there is one car behind me for the P1, I was a little bit just nervous at the beginning. Then I tried to do all my best to keep the pace.
Time for the third podium ceremony, so let's have a look at the standings. Late problems for the leading number 4 meant the number 6 closed to 11.5 seconds of its teammate across the line. The number 4 had the 14-lap penalty, so that means a 2.5 second win for the number 6. It was even closer between the Ligier, just about a second between them, the Speedworks number 22 getting onto the overall podium. Let's take a look at the classes, and in P2 the Ginetta G57s first and second for the number 6 and 4 respectively. Speedworks number 22 Ligier takes victory in P3, just ahead of the Graf number 44 in second. Spirit of Race number 48 Ligier 2 laps down in third. In the CN1 class, not quite as close. The 98 of Craft Racing had 83 laps completed. On 82 laps, the number 97, their sister car, was second. Third in the CN class, the AUH Motorsport Radical 177.
We're happy for everyone having been here. After all, one of those teams here, one of these drivers here, is going to be the champion of the continents at the end of the season, which is going to continue in Portimao with the Hankook 3x3 hours races over there in July. And we're heading off to America, Austin, for the Hankook 3x3 hours quota in November. Thank you very much for being here. See you next time.
It's just the start of this great motorsport festival. In a few days, it's the first ever combined race for the 24-hour Touring Car Endurance Series and the 24-hour GT Endurance Series. So watch out for the 2 highlights programmes from that event. The prototypes head to Europe for the next rounds of the Championship of the Continents. Will be in Portugal at Portimao. Whether you're there as a spectator or a racer, you can find out more information on 24hprotoseries.com.